Woo! What's going on, guys? Orm Swarm coming at you guys today again. We're going to have an aftermath show. Washington football team traveled to Detroit Lions, Ford Field, and for a Week 10 matchup. Detroit Lions won this game, guys, 30-27. In typical Lions fashion, Cardiac Cats back again, doing what they do, but it shouldn't even came down to that. But here's the aftermath, man. I'll run through some of the stats and talk about the game throughout. The quarterbacks, man. Alex Smith came in. He went 38 for 55 for 390 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Got sacked a couple times. They hit him a lot. Took about 8 quarterback hits, and he completed his passes at about a 69% completion percentage. He played good. He came in and he shredded this defense. Obviously, no surprise there. He was hitting everything underneath a lot. He didn't really go deep. He might have threw a couple deep balls, but he didn't go deep a lot. But underneath, and we'll get to that in a bit. Matthew Stafford, he went 24 for 33 for 276 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He took 1 sack. He had a 73% completion percentage, probably his best game of the year. He had a great game against a really good defense, a really good pass defense, probably the best in the league, number 1 pass defense in the league. Because that defensive line usually, like I said before in my preview video, that that D line is their bread and butter. That D line is their bread and butter, and that defense goes when they go. So the offensive line held them in check, man. Held them in check. They only got to Stafford once. They only hit him like one or two times. They kept him clean all day. It was a great game by the O-line and a great game by Stafford and some of his wide receivers. But let's get to that. The running backs for the Washington football team, Antonio Gibson went 13 carries for 45 yards and 2 touchdowns out of 3.5 YPC with a 12 long. Didn't really get a lot on the ground. Didn't do a lot there, but he did score twice. Terry McLaurin had 1 carry for 27 yards on a sweep. Kid's so super fast. Peyton Barber, he only got 2 carries for 7 yards on a 3.5 clip 2 as well. J.D. McKissick only had 8 carries for 6 yards and 1 touchdown. An ex-Lion got in the end zone at a .8 yards per carry. Wasn't that good. Then Alex Smith had 2 carries for 4 yards. I don't think they really want him running around. Down to our guys, man. Our running backs. DeAndre Swift went 16 carries for 81 yards and no touchdowns. 5.1 average. He was awesome on the ground. He had a 17 long. Adrian Peterson, 4 carries for 21 yards at a 5.3. And Kerryon Johnson had 1 carry for 3 yards. Our running back game was solid. Over 100 yards as a unit, so that's pretty good. That's what you always want. You always want to get over 100 as a unit, or even 100 individually. But if you can establish the run, and they only ran the ball like 20 times, 21 times. So that was my main concern coming into this game. Stafford did drop back 33 times. I didn't want that, but they were having success with it. They were having success with it because they were manhandling. That old line was manhandling that defensive line, which was very good to see. Now on to the wide receivers for Washington. Terry McLaurin had 7 catches for 95 yards, no touchdowns on 9 targets. He's a good ball player, man. Logan Thomas, the ex-Lion, had 4 catches for 66 yards and no touchdowns on 6 targets. Isaiah Wright had 6 catches for 59 yards, no touchdowns, 6 targets. Cam Sims had 4 catches for 54 yards. He had a really nice catch over the middle, by the way, late in the game. For five targets. Steven Sims Jr. had 5 catches for 46 yards, no touchdowns, 6 targets. J.D. McKissick had 7 carries, had 7 catches for 43 yards. He had like 15 targets, man. 15. That's insane. Antonio Gibson had 4 catches for 20 yards and 4 targets. Peyton Barber had 1 catch for 7 yards on 1 target. They didn't do that. Like, It doesn't seem like they did a whole bunch there, but they did. You know what I mean? Because Alex Smith ended up throwing for 390 yards, and he used a lot of wide receivers, tight ends, whatever. You know what I mean? So they just didn't get in the end zone. They just didn't get in the end zone, but they got some yardage, but we held them out for the most part. Anyways, you know what I mean? So then on to our wide receivers. Marvin Jones had a really good day again. Where was this during the beginning of the year? 8 catches for 96 yards, 1 touchdown, 10 targets. DeAndre Swift had a great day through the air. 5 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. He was awesome. He was he was phenomenal all game, man. All game. He had 68, 90, 110, 20, 34, like 150 yards purpose, 140 something, 150 yards total purpose yards, man. He had a great day. Marvin Hall had 2 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown, 3 targets. TJ Hawkinson had a little bit of a quiet game, 2 catches, 13 yards on 4 targets. Quintez Cephas had 1 catch for 10 yards on 2 targets. He dropped a huge ball too. Was it earlier in the game? It might have been earlier in the game. He was walking in for a touchdown. There was nobody even around him. Hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it. Then there was another ball too. I mean, I think it was a little bit later on in the game where Stafford threw the ball, heaved it, and Cephas looked lost trying to track it. Like he looked like a linebacker out there trying to track a football, man. And like he looked awful. Stafford had him. Stafford might have overthrew it a bit, but he should have had the awareness of where it was going, because Stafford threw it to where nobody was going to get it except Cephas. And he just turned the wrong way. If he would have turned this way, turned to his left, he probably would have caught it. But he turned to the right at first, and he was kind of turning himself around. I'm not going to fully blame Cephas on that, but he should have known better. He should have been under that ball. Then Dan Amendola had 3 catches for 10 yards on 3 targets. A little quiet day for him. Adrian Peterson had 1 catch for 9 yards on 1 target. Jesse James had 2 catches for 9 yards on 3 targets. So efficient game by our wide receivers. Swift and Jones balled out for sure. Marvin Hall had that nice long touchdown, was 55-yarder. But Marvin Jones balled out this game, guys. Balled out. Okay, onto the defense now. Their safety, Cameron Curl, had 8 tackles and a sack. He's the only one who got in there pretty much for the Washington football team. Kendall Fuller, their playmaking cornerback, he didn't do much. Did have 8 tackles though, but it seemed like he was getting beat. He was getting beat. He was getting beat on Sunday. Linebacker John Bostic had 7 tackles. Linebacker Cole Holcomb had 6 tackles as well. Ronald Darby had their corner had 3 tackles. Defensive tackle Jonathan Allen had 3 tackles. Shazor Everett, their safety, had 3 tackles. Linebacker Kevin Pierre Lewis had 2 tackles. He also had a roughing the passer on Stafford. He went helmet to helmet up on him. They had him wrapped up, and he literally put his helmet right underneath his chin strap. Got a big penalty for them. He's got to know better than that. Defensive end Chase Young had 2 tackles. They shut him down. I think he was getting frustrated, man, because he hit Stafford late a couple times. Got a penalty on it on one time. He got a penalty on it one time late. Smacked Stafford across the helmet. Okay, and I don't like to complain about the refs. I don't, but he smacked Stafford across the helmet. Okay, ref threw the flag. Stafford was all twisted up by another guy that was on him. Someone had him by the legs or something. He was kind of going down or whatever he was doing. And Chase Young literally comes, and I don't think he intentionally meant to slap him, but he slapped him on the face mask. Head completely turned. Was no embellishment by Stafford at all. Smacked him. Penalty thrown. Then they pick it up. This is when Washington was coming back too, okay? And this is like, I hate complaining about the referees. I hate it. And I've been good all year. I think they've pretty much been pretty fair with Detroit. But there's been a couple games, but this game I thought was bad. I thought the referees, and I hate to say it, it almost seemed like they were trying to get them back into the game. They were trying to get them back, make that feel-good story for Alex Smith, the guy that hasn't played in 2 years, almost shattered his whole leg, almost lost his life in 2018 because of that leg injury. Now, like, oh, he's coming back to win his first game starting in the NFL in 2 years. It just there were some bad calls, man. Even on the True Font, phantom pass interference, which was horrible, which was horrendous. It was a horrendous call, and then they called pass interference on True Font. It was just bad. It was just bad, and it just seemed to go within that small little time frame when they were coming back. I could feel it. You could feel them coming back, anyways. So, anyways, defensive tackle Tim Settle had 2 tackles, and then Darren Payne had 2 tackles as well. The other defensive tackle, he had 2 tackles as well. Like I said, that's a whole D line full of first rounders, by the way. They're all first round guys. Most of those guys. They're all first rounders. That's why their D line's so good. We held them in check, man. Kudos to Taylor Decker and the boys, man. You did well. You did really well. The guys like Ryan Anderson, defensive end, Sean Dion Hamilton, a linebacker, Troy Apke, a safety, Montez Sweat, defensive end, who got held in check too as well, all with 1 tackle each. Now onto our guys. Our defense, Jamie Collins Sr., I thought he played well. He had 13 tackles total, 2 forced fumbles and 1 fumble recovery. And then that defense alone got to the quarterback too, and they did hit Alex Smith a lot today or on Sunday. So I will give him credit for that. Then Justin Coleman had 10 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Jaron Chris had 9 tackles. Deron Harmon had 6 tackles. Reggie Ragland had 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and he also had a quarterback hit. Desmond Trufant had 5 tackles. Aurorier had 4 tackles and a pass deflection. Romeo Aquara had 4 tackles, 1 sack, and a quarterback hit. He played well, got to the quarterback, did what he was supposed to do. And who else? Okuda had 3 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. He didn't really do much. He had a couple of nice plays in the run game again. He's always playing the run well. I don't think he got burned too bad that I can remember through the air. Nothing really sticks out to me right now, but he did play the run well again. Penasini, our rookie defensive tackle, had 3 tackles. Everson Griffin, man, you showed up, big fella. You showed up. You showed up, man. You had 3 tackles, a sack. You had 5 quarterback hits. I think that either tied or broke Lions franchise record. I think that broke a record or it tied it. I forget. But it was a really good game by Griff. He came out, man. He came out strong for having a weak game the week before. And he showed why we traded for him, man. He played well. He played well. He was in Alex Smith's face all game. Love it. Michael Ford came. He had 2 tackles. Frank Herron, who they called up from the practice squad, had 2 tackles and a nice batted ball down, 1 pass deflection. And then Danny Shelton had a tackle and a quarterback hit. Christian Jones, Killebrew, Tracy Walker, Tavai, CJ Moore, and Austin Bryant, all with 1 tackle each as well. Then Prater, we all know what he did. He went 3 for 3 from field goals, hit that huge 59-yarder to win the game with 3 seconds left to go on the clock. No quadruple zeros, boom, game over. Now, the touchdowns, we had Marvin Hall in the first quarter had a 55-yarder, put us up 7-0. Then Washington kicked a field goal, made it 7-3 Detroit. Then the second quarter, Marvin Jones had a really nice touchdown. Stafford threw a back shoulder catch where only he could catch it. Jonesy turns around, catches it. It was a 27-yarder. That made it 14-3 Detroit. And then the Lions had another field goal that made it 17-3 in the second quarter. Then the third quarter, we came out hot with like a 11-play drive that took like 7 minutes to go. That took 7 minutes off the clock, and then it was a 15-yard pass to DeAndre Swift. That made it 24-3 Detroit. And that's where it all went downhill. That's where it all went downhill, guys. Then the very next possession, J.D. McKissick, Alex Smith drives down the field. McKissick gets in the end zone, touchdown on a 2-yard run, makes it 24-10 Detroit. Then the Lions go a 3-and-out punt. Then Antonio Gibson gets a 2-yard touchdown run. Smith drives down the field, makes it 24-17, and you can smell it. Now you can smell the comeback. You could smell these when all the penalties were kind of happening too against Detroit. I was like, man, they're gonna lose this ball game. They're gonna for sure tie it up, anyways. Then we went 3-and-out again. Okay, we went 3-and-out again. We punted, and Alex Smith drove all the way down the field. Antonio Gibson 5-yard touchdown run that tied up the ball game at 24. And the Lions, they kind of got their heads out of their butts, drove down the field. Matt Prater hits a field goal, makes it 27-24. Then Washington comes back. They tie it up 27-27. 16 seconds to go, guys. 16 seconds to go. Stafford completes like a 20-yarder. I think it was to Marvin Jones, if I can remember correctly. It was to Marvin Jones. He gets him down there a little bit. And then another dumb penalty by, I think it was Chase Young. Who hit Matthew Stafford in the back. And it was a blatant pass interference. He took 2 steps after Stafford threw the ball. You could see he could have led up. He never did. And he hit it and put the Lions in field goal range. And Matt Prater hit a 59-yarder to win the ball game. And that's it, guys. That's what happened. 30-27 Detroit Lions. We won the ball game. Now, a couple things to talk about, man. It's just the same old thing with this team. This team lets up. They let up. They blew a 21-point lead, man. 21-point lead. Okay? Now, I blame offense and defense. I'm blaming more of the defense. I am, because if you got a 24-3 lead, you should be pinning your ears back and going off and getting the quarterback. But what does Detroit's defense do? They start playing this deep zone. Letting Alex Smith bury them all day underneath. Like for 3 possessions in a row. Like you think you would learn off the second one, maybe? I don't know. You should learn off the first one, not to give him the deep zone. But I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt, but I shouldn't be. These are professional athletes. How do I know a fan of football, a fan of my Detroit Lions? How do I know that that particular defense doesn't work? But you did it for 3 straight drives. 3 straight drives. And then Bevel on the offensive side, Bevel and Stafford, Stafford's got to communicate more with his offensive coordinator or something. I don't know if he's not, or somebody does. Don't go vanilla. 3 plays and out. Don't go vanilla. Do what's working. Throw the ball if you have to. It's working all game. You know what I mean? Like you're worried about the clock? Come on, man. You don't have the defense. To just do these vanilla plays. Like I get it, you're trying to run out the clock with the run game. I understand that, but this team, they clearly show why they're not a good football team. We played literally one of the worst offensive teams in the NFL. By far, we played. Washington's terrible. They're terrible offensively. Terrible. And Alex Smith destroyed us. Okay? Alex Smith destroyed us. Their running game, they didn't do much. They scored 3 touchdowns, but they were short. That was because Alex Smith drove down the field. Yardage-wise, though, they only 55, 65, 77, you know what I mean? They only had like 80-something, maybe 80 yards, 84 yards under that running the football. So it's not bad, even though they got 3 touchdowns. But that's all Alex Smith getting him down there. Like you stopped attacking Alex Smith for some reason. You stopped blitzing him. You were trying to do this. You were rushing 3 guys like 70% of the time. It seemed like you weren't blitzing them. You weren't doing 4 guys at once. You should. I don't understand it. You put this team right back. You got them right back in it. And if it wasn't for Stafford and Matt Prater and Chase Young being undisciplined, we would have lost this football game. We probably would have lost it. It would have went into overtime, and who knows what would have happened if Chase Young did not hit Stafford after the throw. Like I'm not even mad. I'm loud. I'm yelling. There's nobody home. That's why. But I'm not even mad about it. It just goes to show you how bad this defense is, guys. It just like it's the same thing week in, week out almost, man. Like, you know what I mean? If it wasn't for this offense, I don't really know. This team probably would not be winning a game. They wouldn't be. And yeah, they've had a couple hands in winning some games for us. They have 2 or 3 games, maybe. 2 for sure. But they're a bad defense. Like, they're so bad. And it's the scheme. I don't think they have bad football players. Because I like their players. Everson Griffin's a good ball player, even though he's only been here a little bit. Jamie Collins is a decent linebacker. Trufant's not a bad corner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a little bit past his prime, I think, but he's not bad, man. Okuda's up and coming, young. Oruwariye is the same kind of guy. They got some guys. Their linebackers are atrocious except for Jamie Collins, though. That's for sure. I think their linebackers are worse than their defensive line. Tell you the truth. They got no playmakers over there. If Jamie Collins wasn't on this team, I don't even know. I don't know who would be I don't know who would be the guy. It'd be Tavai or Davis. Yikes. Or Reggie Ragland. Ragland's probably our second best linebacker. You know what I mean? At least he's producing some tackles. He's he blitzes. He does some things. Jared Davis is unavailable. He's banged up, and he's not that good. Jelani Tavai is absolutely terrible. You know what I mean? Absolutely terrible. I think they're using Austin Bryant in the wrong position. I don't think he should be a defensive end. I think he should be an outside rushing linebacker. I think he should be used more of stand-up and more like a little bit wider. Like, he's good as a defensive end, but I think he's better as an outside guy, standing up on 2 feet, coming in to the quarterback. I think they're using him as a defensive end most of the time is a mistake. I did see him stand up a couple times, but he needs to be. He is so long. It's insane how long he is. He should be coming from that outside linebacker spot, man. But whatever. And Griffin showed up too, so thank goodness for him. That's good that he showed up. But you know what I mean? We had a couple guys show up on defense, like Griffin. I thought Collins played okay game. Ragland okay. But everything underneath, they got destroyed underneath. The safeties weren't playing well underneath. Linebackers can't cover. They can't cover. So we got lucky, guys. We got lucky and won this football game. We're 4-5 now. A couple games out of a wild card. Still somehow in the hunt. It's gonna get even tougher now. It's gonna get tougher now. Carolina and Houston are no joke. Coming up, we got Carolina next. I'll do that preview later. But they're not good football teams, but they play tough. Especially Houston. Especially Houston plays teams tough. They do. And Carolina's got a couple injuries right now. We got to see if Teddy Bridgewater is going to play. I don't think McCaffrey's playing, but Mike Davis is no joke at running back. And they got some kid, I think, named P.J. Walker, who's going to be their quarterback if Bridgewater don't go. He's an XFL star. So don't sleep on these teams. Don't sleep on these teams. I only see this team winning 1 or 2 more games anyways, because December is absolutely brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And your defense hasn't proved anything. Your defense just proves how bad they are by playing that bend but don't break defense. That's what they did. They played that bend but don't break defense, and then they just literally sat on their heels in the third quarter after they went up by 21 points. So they just sat on their heels and literally waited for them to catch up. And didn't do anything, didn't change anything up, and if they did, I didn't really notice it. You know what I mean? They played that deep zone, and Alex Smith was killing them underneath. You don't see that, Corey Unlin? Matt Patricia? That's the thing that gets me, man. You're professional coaches in the NFL. Don't you see that? I don't understand. I don't understand. It's every week. Every week I'm sitting there doing this, man, going, I just don't get it. You know what I mean? I just don't get it, man. But whatever, man. We won the football game, guys. We're 4-5. We have a chance, I think, to win the next 2 games. It's not going to be easy, though, because nothing's easy for this team. A lot of teams think we're so good that we're just going to run over teams, like a lot of people. And people still blaming Stafford. I seen an argument on Facebook, and I got into it a little bit, but your boy's refraining from name calling. He's done with that. But I literally seen a guy blaming Stafford and Stafford alone for time of possession because of the 2 punts back-to-back in the third. And yeah, I think they went soft in that vanilla, but you can't just blame just the quarterback. That's offense as a whole. You know what I mean? That's offense as a whole. There could have been misassignments. There could have been a route that wasn't run well. It could have been a bad throw by Stafford. It could have been anything. It could have been a drop pass. There was a few drop passes in the game. I don't think anything like that happened on those 2 back-to-back punts. But you can't, Detroit could not stop Alex Smith. Even in the first and second quarter, They were having 8, 9, 11-yard drive, like 11 play drives, gassing out that defense, man. But they weren't scoring. They scored like a field goal in the first, second, third quarter. You know what I mean? First quarter, field goal. Nothing in the second quarter. Then they hit another. They finally got a touchdown late in the third. Late in the third, they got a touchdown, and that put us up still 24-10. Then we just kind of went into a shell. Right after McKissick scored that touchdown, we went into a shell. It was unbelievable. But we played that bend but don't break, like I said. We played that bend but don't break defense, and it worked for the first couple quarters and a half, and then you started getting gashed. You started getting gashed underneath. And they caught up to us and almost beat us. They probably would have ended up beating us if it went to overtime. They probably would have, man. Because who's saying that Matt Patricia would have played a totally different defense in OT? He wouldn't have. He probably would have played that same crap defense he was in the third and fourth quarter. That deep zone defense, man, which was awful. So we got lucky, guys. We won a game. We beat a bad team. It's a bad team beating a bad team. Okay? Put it that way. But we won. We're 4-5. The football team is 2-7. And their hopes are, they've been long done. But we're kind of in a playoff hunt, I guess. We're last in our division, though. We're last in our division, but we're only 2-3 games out of a wild card. I don't think it's going to happen, but we're still in that hunt. We'll see what happens these next 2 games, guys, because these 2 games are crucial. And then you have a December that's absolutely brutal for this team. Brutal. It's brutal who we have to play. It's not good. So I see this team winning 5-6 games. That's it. Because the December matchups, go look them up. Go look them up. They're bad. But anyways, guys, that was it. 30-27, Detroit Lions. 4-5 in the year. 4th in their division. Yay. But thanks a lot, guys, for the video. Thanks for listening. Hit that subscribe button on the bottom right. Hit that notification bell. Hit all. And like and comment. Negative, positive. I'll come back to you guys as soon as I can. I always do. Go Lions. Boom.